Greetings gamers, ex-gamers and friends and family of gamers, and welcome to day 13 of Game Free January. With regards to withdrawal symptoms, yesterday was extremely uneventful, not a single hint of anything that could be considered a withdrawal symptom. Another peaceful and pleasant sleep with very little difficulty falling asleep and waking up refreshed and alert. During the day I had no temptation to game, and despite seeing a couple of adverts for games, didn't even think about wanting to buy or play them. Of course, there's an insecure part of me that is now thinking other people might hear this and conclude that I was never a gamer in the first place. I can only assure you that even though there were days where I just didn't game or want to game, there were also days where I'd game from the moment I woke up until the moment I went to bed. I also fear that at the end of this experiment, when I go back to gaming in February, some people will assume that I had relapsed, even though the challenge was never to stop gaming indefinitely, but to stop gaming for January. This brings me nicely to the topic of this video, which is peer pressure. We humans are a gregarious species. We form groups and tend not to do well in isolation. One of the biggest fears many humans have is being alone or being ostracized by the community that we are part of. This could explain why the threat of solitary confinement is such a powerful deterrent in prisons, or why the fear of disfellowship or excommunication is such a powerful motivator in some religions. It can also go some way to explaining why people in abusive relationships, though profoundly miserable, choose to stay in abusive relationships. This fear of rejection by one's own community is so strong that people will do almost anything, even risking their life, in order to be accepted by the group. This compulsion to belong is relatively weak in some, but in others is stronger than self-preservation or even parental love. Species that form packs or herds or flocks or schools experience evolutionary benefits as there is safety in numbers. Furthermore, when hunting, it's easier for a pack to bring down a kill than a lone predator. Those who lack the biological imperative to be part of a pack or herd are more likely to wander off on their own and be picked off by a predator, or succumb to thirst or starvation, and therefore less likely to pass on their genes to the next generation. When looking for a mate, species that are isolationists have to rely on bright colours, scent trails, or loud mating calls to attract each other over long distances. Unfortunately, those signals are just as likely to attract a predator as a mate. In a group, potential mates are much closer and more breeding opportunities present themselves. Possibly one of the reasons humans have been so successful is because of our desire to form communities. Our inherent craving to be accepted couldn't be made more evident than the lengths some people will go to on social media to get likes and subs. "Give me 10,000 subs or I'll sing," is a promise somebody who is not me might make. Anyone who has heard me sing will know that that would be more of a threat than a promise. But if you're waiting for me to pull some daft stunt like eat a load of cinnamon or cement my head into a microwave, you'll be waiting a very long time. I don't crave acceptance that much. That craving for acceptance isn't entirely absent though. I have to confess that if somebody likes one of my videos, I get a buzz just like everybody else. Please like my videos! In conjunction with the strong desire to belong is the fear of outsiders who don't belong. One of the primary reasons we form communities is for protection. So when an outsider comes along, someone we don't recognise and don't know, our basic biological imperative is to treat that outsider with suspicion. Imagine we are a tight-knit community that has been successful. We have learned how to make fire. We hunt successfully. Our men are strong. Our women are fertile. Our children are well fed. And our old are happily passing on their wisdom. And so our tribe is doing well. Then one night, Out of nowhere, a stranger comes near our fire. Who is this stranger? Someone who has been cast out? In which case, what could they have done to upset their own tribe that they cast them out? Are they an advanced scout for their tribe who is looking to discover our numbers? Maybe they just got lost or separated from the tribe. Or maybe they're a trader offering a trade that could benefit both our tribes. Those tribes that were all too quick to accept strangers without asking questions were likely to be robbed or killed or disbanded or eradicated. Tribes that were more suspicious and made outsiders pass certain tests to prove their worthiness before gaining acceptance would have been more likely to grow in strength and numbers. This means that only human beings that were inherently suspicious got to pass their suspicious genes on to the next generation. To this day, the deep emotional need to fit into a group, as well as to exclude others from that group, is what drives us to form cliques and clubs and societies and communities that could be built around things as arbitrary as musical tastes or favourite sports or hobbies or interests. These cliques quickly form a dress code and a language and a culture that helps them to quickly identify those who belong and those who do not belong. They will also quickly form some kind of hierarchy and a set of unwritten rules that are reinforced by peer pressure to keep the members of the group in check. Many teenagers take up addictive behaviour patterns because they see their friends doing it and they desperately want to belong. Once trapped in addiction, both the need to belong and the fear of rejection keep the addict stuck in that behaviour. Contrary to the belief some non-gamers have, gaming is a culture with real people behind the keyboards. The friendships gamers make are not virtual friendships, they are real friendships with real people, even though gamers don't always meet face to face. That being said, sometimes when gamers do meet up in person, they discover they have absolutely nothing in common except the game. But again, sometimes gamers have gone on to form lifelong friendships, or even get married as a result of meeting in a game. But either way, real human interaction is taking place inside the game. Social bonds are being forged and a language and culture is being developed that identifies those who belong and those who don't belong. Even if the friends met in game have nothing else in common except the game, the social bonds are nonetheless real, and when the gamer is away from the game for any prolonged period, the absence of those social interactions is felt. A desire to belong to a community and a desire for status and recognition within that community can drive a gamer to game harder for longer in an attempt to grow in rankings or gain achievements. It can also drive the gamer to spend increasing amounts of money to purchase skins or loot boxes that might give them an advantage in game or increase their presence and sense of acceptance. An absence from gaming might not be directly punished by the community, but that absence will be noticed and might be queried, especially if the gamer is a member of a guild or clan or family. But the real deterrent to prolonged absence will be when the absentee gamer returns to find that others have more experiences to share, more skins, achievements, better mounts or vehicles, which make the returning gamer feel a sense of isolation. The returning gamer will feel less involved in the chat conversations as the other gamers are sharing memories of in-game events that the returning gamer never experienced, adding to that gamer's feelings of inferiority and inadequacy. And as games evolve over time, the returning gamer may be forced to ask questions about the game that makes the gamer feel even more like an outsider. So even when a group doesn't consciously ostracize a member for prolonged absence, that absence is felt keenly by the returnee. One of the biggest challenges an addict will face is letting go of relationships that keep him or her in the addiction and trying to form new relationships with people that are part of another group. That means adopting a whole new culture, learning a whole new secret language, and passing whatever entry requirements the new group might set. An addict that might have commanded a great deal of respect and been in a position of authority with his or her old peer group, having people hanging on his or her every word, now finds that he or she is the outsider, having to earn the acceptance of the group and start again at the bottom of the pecking order. Clearly, a large factor in determining the length and quality of an addict's recovery is early diagnosis and early intervention. It's never too late to make a change, but the sooner that change is made, the easier the transition will be. If you feel that you might have a problem with excessive gaming and are worried you might be developing an addiction, why not follow along or try out this simple test of going game free for a month? Remember, it can be any month and you don't have to start on the 1st. Why not post a comment and let me know how you're doing, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But as for me, big fat hairy 12 days and counting non-gamer, I'll look forward to seeing you in another video.